Hey, my name's DS Yoxheimer, and this is The Spectre, where I talk about all kinds of shit. So that's really sums it up right there. And I am now talking about a Aeon Flux, of course, as I just zoomed out of a little statue back there. And it was a 1990s animated series on actually premiered in 1991 on Liquid Television on MTV, and it was kind of a cyberpunk animated, almost BDSM themed show. I wouldn't necessarily say it was BDSM, but that's kind of what her outfit looks like, at least in the animated series. That ran, I think, for a couple of seasons. I actually have the box set. I think it was about 3 seasons on MTV. And from there, there were comic books and there were some odd things. Some of the stuff I have another a companion book called the Herodotus file. I can't really spell it. It's some long Herodotus file. Anyway, it's kind of hard to find. I kind of stumbled across it years ago at a Walden Books, back when there was a Walden Books, and picked it up. And it was pretty cool. Had a lot of stuff about the show, but it was still very odd and abstract and weird, and you didn't really know exactly what the overall show was about or what all the characters were about. There was always something different going on, kind of almost like an anthology series. But that show went on for a while, and I think it definitely was popular and at least had a cult following. People confused it for an anime series, especially because the creator was named Peter Chung. And actually, technically wasn't. I think he was one of the creators of an animated or popular animated series known as the Rugrats, which I think a lot of people would be aware of. There was a motion picture, animated motion picture of that TV series, which was very popular for a number of years on Nickelodeon. But Aeon Flux was violent. It was very sexually suggestive, to say the least. I wouldn't even say suggestive. I mean, especially for something that can air on any network at the time. And eventually, the show was on for a while, and after that, it kind of just went away. And occasionally, you'd see it pop up in, there'd be a little comic book series about it or something like that. But it kind of, went away. I think you might see somebody, or maybe a woman, or maybe a guy dressed up at like a comic book convention like Aeon Flux, but it sort of overall went away until about 2005 when the Charlize Theron movie Aeon Flux was released, and she starred in it and didn't quite. She had more of a jumpsuit, full body, because I don't think she would wear that shit. Even though she's done a lot of nude scenes, it was a little bit too much to wear the entire film. And her hair wasn't quite done the same way. I guess that would be a little impractical, but to have the big, her hair sort of gelled up in the curls in the front or whatever they were. But she just, that movie was panned. I mean, I think Rotten Tomatoes gave it 10%. It was just really, really, didn't get well received at all. And it wasn't really a good movie. It was a very watered down version of the animated series, which I think is why it kind of failed. And it almost, Aeon Flux, you almost can't do a live action version of it. It's the characters are so spindly, and just the way they move around and the environment, it just defines itself as being animated. And I think that's probably what happened with it. They tried to take something that hasn't been around for a while. It'd been 10 years, so they figured, okay, we can adapt it for a live action film, and and the people who are going to go see it were, of course, fans of the old animated series, and they're going to expect to see something that sort of does justice to the old animated series, and the movie just, flat out didn't, and that's why, it kind of failed, and after that, it went away forever. So, that's sort of what became of Aeon Flux. I don't think anything will ever, it might, you never know in this world of reboots, but if they do, they're definitely going to have to reference the old source material and do it justice, instead of just kind of getting some big star in it and then just watering it down and releasing it for a more mass audience. Because if it sucks, it just sucks. It doesn't matter you know, if you put a big star like Charlize Theron in it or not, you know. So that's pretty much why it failed, because it didn't quite parallel the same, you know, quirkiness and eccentricities of the old series. But that's my take on Aeon Flux. My name is DS Yoxheimer. If you like my channel, subscribe, and I'll catch you later. I tried to zoom in on it, but I fucked it up, didn't I? Because I'm using a phone. Later.